you all please stand with me and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we've been doing this year, I'm going to share the vision and the mission of this Cameron R1 School District. The Cameron R1 School District vision is to offer an exceptional educational experience, and the mission of the school is to educate and empower our students to reach their full potential. So I appreciate everyone that's in attendance this evening. To the board, you've been presented the proposed agenda, and you've been able to focus on the consent agenda. Do you have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Dr. Kercher moved that we approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Earley seconding that motion. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Seeing none, the consent agenda passes. I should mention that we've got a board member out under the weather this evening, so he looks forward to joining us back in January. The next thing on our agenda is non-action reports. Book review, Dr. Robinson.
Yeah, on your agendas you'll find the book review. That's also public, so anybody can see that. Pull that up real quick. I know we've talked about this for a little bit. This is our committee's recommendations for the books as of 12/19. I'm not going to go book by book, but I think there's about 25 plus books on there that have been there'll be more starting again in January. As you can see, they either have no restriction. There's one that's a little bit different, a child called Ed, high school only, no restriction, middle school needs restriction. And then you do get to, some of these are graphic novels, some of these are parts of the first sets of books. You get down to some of the other ones, and you can see access restricted for age 17 and under unless parental permission granted. So a couple of them we did put some restrictions on. But as parents want their kids to read those, they're more than welcome to let their kids read those. And so we'll be updating our library at this point in time with some of these. And like I said, we'll have more books to bring to the board in January and again in February until we get through the list. But about 25 plus books there so that we've made it through. And so just wanted to present that. Obviously, we're not making it an item of consideration for the board to adopt because the board asked our committee of my assistant, our assistant superintendent, and the principal of those buildings to look at these. So this is our recommendations for the books. So, any questions from the board on that?
Where are those books located right now?
Right now, they're in my office.
Okay.
So. Yep, all the books are actually in my office right now.
Will these go then back on the shelves?
Mm-hmm. Once we go ahead and put the restrictions on, get those on the website so that people know, or so the librarians know that book has a restriction on it that needs parental permission or whatever it may be, then yes.
So per our policy that we adopted last meeting,
Mm-hmm.
If the book is just under review, it should still be available, is that correct?
Right now I do have all of them because I'm trying to go through as many as possible.
Okay.
So.
And yeah, just wanting to make sure that we're not, restricting access just,
Mm-hmm.
before a decision is made.
Right.
For the policy, so.
Any other questions for Dr. Robinson?
Are you reading through all the books, or are you looking at certain?
Most of the books I've tried to go through, our group has. The graphic novels have been a little bit different. We do look at some of the materials, especially if we find a picture that may or may not meet standards or whatever it may be. If it's any nudity, anything like that, we've tried to look at those pictures. Is there context to the picture? Is it artwork? Is it all those different things? So those are a little bit easier to go through. So.
Do we know if any of these books or any of the books that you will go through are part of AP or any part of like a curriculum?
I don't know that. I think the Unholy and Unsold and some of those books we've used in a couple classes. I don't know about the other. I don't know about the other books on that list. So.
I appreciate the work that's gone into this. And I do hope that we can make sure that, you know, whatever a manageable number of books is that you can get through at a given time, that they come off the shelf so you can obviously look at them, but that until that time, we don't just take them all down.
Okay.
For like the ones that say need parental permission, if it's like by an entire building, for example, the middle school needs parental permission, is that book going to be located in a place that will actually require the parent's permission to look at the book before it's checked out?
Well, I think we would call the parent if the kid wants to check out the book.
Right, but before the book's checked out, you know, like if you're in the library and it requires
I
parental
don't think
permission.
a separate section would be, to me, that's just inviting everybody to go to the special section. So it's kind of like Blockbuster used to have the special section in the back of their, everybody went to the back of the Blockbuster.
So if a middle school student checked out a child called it, there would be a call made home? I
Yes.
see. Okay.
Yep.
But if they grab the book off the shelf to flip through it, that's allowed without parental permission.
Right.
Any other questions for Dr. Robinson? So the non-restricted books, I'm assuming, will be given back to the librarians and reshelved and...
Yes.
Perfect.
And parents can still fill out that form that says no restrictions. That still,
Well, effectively, by not filling it out, you said that.
okay. You said something in there about allow or not like,
Well, but if I don't fill out the form, then I'm allowing you to read any book you want. Am I
For when
wrong?
it's restricted, you
When-
can fill out a form to allow your child.
Yeah, and we have not updated the form.
yeah, that's what I was.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a parent can use that form to, like, any of these books that says access restricted to age 17 or under, they can use that form and say, I want to grant complete access to my child. And
I
they
feel like
would
that's
have-
what we were
Yeah.
getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
they would have access to the whole library.
Yes.
Now, is this done at the beginning of the year?
Do what, I'm
Filling out
sorry?
the form, like if parents want to fill the form out.
Yeah, the form went out September, October. Yeah.
Right, but every year,
Every year it'll come out.
right,
Yes.
will it come out around the time the school starts?
That's the plan,
Okay,
yes.
and I only ask that because there's so much paperwork, and so, you know, you've got this pile of stuff you gotta sign off on, and you're not really looking at it probably as closely as you should. So I was kind of wondering if maybe it's semester, or, you know, like the beginning of January when I get back, if there's some kind of a, you know, just an email of, hey, if you want to update your students' library access,
That would not be difficult to do.
you know,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. The reason it took a little longer this year to get out was we were working on the whole Destiny system so that we could have more
Sure.
access for
Yeah.
parents, and we didn't have all that set up,
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
no, I get that.
Yep.
Thank you for all your work, and I know you,
Well, we'll have quite a bit more again in January, so.
yeah, so we'll look for those updates as they come along, so. Any other questions or comments for Dr. Robinson? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the administrative reports. First up is Dr. Easley.
Great. Good evening. Those of you who are fortunate enough to be at the high school tonight to watch Winterfest, you're probably coming to this filled with lots of holiday cheer. Wonderful job to all of our staff and students who put that on. There have been a lot of our students showing, I guess, their voice over the last few weeks. It's been great. One of the things I wanted to highlight is the College and Career Fair. That was the beginning of this month. It's a pretty big undertaking with over 50 colleges, community businesses, community partnerships, and military branches showing up, and every one of our high school students gets to take advantage of that. So they have the opportunity to walk around and visit any and every single one of them if they would like to. So that was great. I thank you to Mrs. Webb, Mrs. Henry, Mrs. Messick, and Mr. Erdman and Mr. Lanigan for putting that on. That was pretty awesome. You can kind of see it in my board report. It was packed, and it was really neat to see the kids interacting with community members. So a little update on the safety grant. We have the safety film has been installed at both the high school and CDMS, and that's been completed. The record technology safety system has been, I guess, insured and paid for this year through the grant. And then we're still working on the radio system, Officer Palmer and I, and surveillance system upgrades. But remember, that is due April 20th, so all of that work will be complete. So we've been doing a lot of assessing. As you know, if your children are coming home, I took another test today, I took another test today. That's true. We have several local assessments that are so important to us outside of our math and EOCs that we do. We really do a lot that help us with guiding their instruction along the way. So I will be reporting on STAR literacy assessment. These were taken in the fall, so we'll have benchmark growth data that we were kind of highlighted in the last report that was from spring to fall. NWEA, that's in math, ELA, and science, and then STAR is reading only. Then we have a few kids taking EOCs at the high school level. That's one way that students could qualify for the A+ program I talked about last month. And the ASVAB test that was just taken, that's one of our college career readiness assessments that all juniors take per the way that DESE has that set up. Also, something that dropped yesterday, I don't know if you noticed, but if you like to go on to DESE, they've had a big announcement. Our annual performance report for our second year M6 came out. And some of the information that Commissioner Van Dieven shared prior to that information coming out is three things. Academic recovery in the state of Missouri is still an issue. Statewide attendance is a huge issue. Good news though, we're gaining leaps and bounds in that area. And then there's just a huge shortage of teacher candidates. So finding teachers, keeping teachers, that's difficult at this point. And just kind of in the board report, there's a highlight of the APR results comparing from 22 to 23. Remember, the performance is 70% and continuous improvement category is 30%. So it's weighted based off that. But although we had a little bit of a decrease in performance, we had a pretty decent increase in continuous improvement. And so it factored out to be that we still were in that 80 range percentage-wise of total percents earned. So what that says is essentially out of about 549 districts that we are within the top 189 in the state, and we have scored higher than 360 other Missouri school districts. So we still have areas that we're going to look for, especially in growth. We're going to be looking at students and subgroup students and making sure that in ELA and in math we are taking those local assessments and creating those benchmarks to help them in their learning path. Also celebrate science and social studies, and academic achievement status was extremely high. And then advanced credit went up from getting 3/4 of our points to 100% of our points this past year. And attendance went up from half of points to 75%. That doesn't mean, that means huge growth. So it is in increments of 10 percentage points. And to make percentage points growth in a district that you look at 4 schools on the whole, that's not moving the needle a little, it's moving the needle quite a bit. So I just want to thank all of our assistant principals especially, and principals, guidance counselors and our social workers, because they're constantly making sure students understand how important school is to be at. Just want to note, outside of our local assessments, these assessments, this data was taken in April of last year. So we're, quite a few months out. So it's really just kind of understand that we use our local assessments to make greater decisions as a whole. We look at this data to show kind of where a certain student to student or group is heading and make those appropriate adjustments. We're on track with safety drills. We're going to be looking at kindergarten for reading success plans based on the data they just completed with their reading, STAR reading assessments. And then we've been super busy looking at our current curriculum and making sure that the scope and sequence is up to date and ready to go. And then next semester will be unit planning. Really, that's everything I have. So, questions?
When you say it's based on April of last year, you mean last school year or you
Last
mean
school
like
year.
2020?
2023, last school year, yes. So we don't always get that data in a timely fashion. We never get the data in a timely fashion, but we do find it valuable because it is something that, you know, tests our standards, so.
Dr. Utek, this is a difficult question to I know, but have you, just on, you know, your class, have you identified some curriculum gaps that you see we can address?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what district you're in and what high performing, there's always gaps because things always change.
Right.
We always have, you know, social studies is coming up, that revision, and then there's always other revisions. So yeah, there's definitely some areas, and we really are looking at alignment coming up this spring and making sure that our units really align. And a lot of our professional development time this upcoming year is going to be spent looking at that. So yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's hard to believe we're in December. Had a good start, or good first semester. Want to give a shout out to our staff and our students just for a smooth first semester of the 23-24 school year. A couple of things I want to highlight. Winter sports and activities. If you're there tonight and last night at our choir concert, kids sounded amazing. Basketball, wrestling, that's off and running. So very busy time of year. We'll get a few weeks off or a couple weeks off, and then we'll hit the ground running in January with sports and our activities. Like Dr. Utek said, finished up a lot of testing here the last few weeks at the high school with NWEA, EOC, and then just our final schedule. Like she said, we had the ASVAB last week and got that taken. One thing our counselors presented our teachers back in November, and I know Mr. Jones probably 3 or 4 years ago, talked about his student PD day. COVID hit and kind of nixed that. So we are looking to bring that back this March. We will be sending out an interest survey in January, and then sometime mid-March we're looking at doing that. We'll interest the kids on what they're interested in, and then also with some guidance from us, we really need to do resume writing and things like that will help prepare them. So I'm looking forward to getting that data and organizing that with our counselors. And then one last thing I wanted to point out in my board report, under growth mindset, attendance at the high school, it continues to be a focus. Mr. Lanigan is constantly talking with kids, talking with parents, doing his part. But I did want to highlight, currently at the high school, 316 of our 473 kids, so 67% are at 95% or better. So that kind of just paints a picture a little bit of, we do have 67% of our kids that are 95% or better, not just meeting the 90, but they're going above. So kudos to Mr. Lanigan and those kiddos. So any questions for me? Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Up next is Mr. Stickle.
It's good to see all of you. Wrapping up the first semester. It's been 27 years of education, probably one of the best first semesters I've ever had. Knock on wood, fingers crossed, toes crossed. Really pleased with, we started Exact Path response to intervention program this year just to try to help us pick up some areas where we've been struggling. Our math department's really kind of run with it early on, and they've kind of championed the effort. Our ELA group is starting to come along. They've shown some growth here in the last month with it. But all of in our math, we only have one class that didn't raise their NWEA scores of all the classes we have. When you look at our numbers overall between ELA and math, I think 22 and 27 categories or 22 and 28 categories we showed growth in. So I thought that was tremendous because growth is huge, and really want to give a shout out to our teachers. Mrs. Barlow also, want to give her a shout out. She's tried some new techniques this year, some new instructional things that looking at her data has been impressive, and I'm really excited about it. She's sharing that with the other teachers, and they're starting to catch on and use some of that in the other math rooms. Do want to give a shout out to our winter sports kids. Our B team girls and A team girls both finished third in their last tournaments, and our boys and girls wrestling team, they finished. They were Dave Kinnan Classic champs in Chillicothe 2 weeks ago. I got lucky enough that I got to help coach, and that was a lot of fun. So it was an exciting day, and the kids really performed well. I think we had 15 or 16 champions that day, so that was really awesome. And then we had a great Pearl Harbor Day assembly. I thought it went really well. It was the first time we were in the PAC, and so that was fun for our kids, and the Stuco really took on a lot of that. I didn't used to be more adult driven, and a student council starting to do more of that and take those duties over, so I'm really pleased. Stuco also had a dance, and it went really well. It was well attended, one of the best attended dances we've ever had from what I've heard. Mr. Fisher was there, and I was not able to be there, but Mr. Fisher was, and said it was well attended and things went well. So, and our attendance is up 9% from last time, later at this time, so that's a plus too. So.
I have one request.
Yep.
Could you have Kleenex available when you're walking into the Pearl Harbor Day?
We can work on that for next year. Yeah, we can. Sure,
Very
you
good.
bet.
That's very good.
I heard lots of compliments around the community about the Pearl Harbor Day.
It's good.
It was
Good to hear.
lots of compliments on the
Good.
middle school for that. So.
All right.
Any other questions for? Thank you.
Have a
Merry
great Christmas,
Merry
everybody. Take care.
Next up is Ms. Reverend.
Good evening. I just wanted to take it, well, Santa was at school today, I guess I should start by that. That's probably all the celebrations going on at home, and parents, just like kids alike, were getting out of cars and running to give Santa a hug, so that was exciting. I might have just seen one at the Mexican restaurant and said, hey, look at this photo, so she was pretty impressed. I got it all on video. So that was exciting today, but I wanted to take a moment to just celebrate our students and our teachers and our families. We know Reading Success Plans have been a thing that were handed to us from the state level, and from the STAR assessment that we took in the fall. Reading Success Plans were written, interventions were started. I had our first data meetings, which we have about every 6 weeks, the first week of December, looking at the results and where the kids were. They have to meet their reading goal 3 times prior to moving to the next level of reading. And we had a significant number of students do that just within that 2-month time frame from when we got results back to when we started doing that. That's not a light load. It's hard. It's hard to meet it 3 times. It's hard to move to the next level. So we have children that started phonemic awareness that actually met phonemic awareness and phonics goals, and will be moving to fluency goals. So I just wanted to take a moment, because that's not just done in school. That's done at home. That's done in the community. It's everywhere. Teachers are working hard, students are working hard. Focus is on instruction from the time they walk in to the time they leave, like it always has been. But I just wanted to take a moment to celebrate those successes, because we don't always get the opportunity to do that. We are finishing up, like Dr. Utek said, and I think Mr. Erdman was talking a little bit too. We are finishing up makeup tests for STAR reading this week. We have finished all of NWEA, and that information will be given to you in the January Board of Education report for you to kind of see where we are with growth with that. But for tonight, I just wanted to say shout out to all the people involved in educating our children. It takes us all.
Any questions for?
I'd just like to thank you, and I know other buildings do it as well, but I got a call the other day from, my youngest teachers, and it was a positive contact call, and they left me a message because I couldn't answer, but it was about reading and math. And I think that's going a long way, because keeping parents up to date in that conversation, that's wonderful. And so, kudos to you guys for doing that, and I know that takes extra time and effort, and just keep it up, because that's great.
She stole mine, because that's exactly what I was going to say, because I got that call this morning and it just started my day. And so thank you to you for you probably model that and, help your teachers to see the importance of reaching out to us parents. And I just say thank you very much for that, and to our teachers who take the time. That's right. Yeah.
Thank you, Merry Christmas, thank you.
Who is healthy?
I'm back.
Yay!
Good to see you.
I want to start my report off by just thanking everyone for all their support. I had to step away from my job for a month to have knee surgery, and I just want to thank my assistant, Kayla Riley. She was absolutely phenomenal, and my administrators and Mary Crawford, who stepped in to help man the fort while I was away. I've been here 10 years, and that's the first time I've ever had to do anything like that. So it was really hard, but I am blessed with having wonderful teachers and staff members, and my gosh, I miss those kids. So it was great to be back, and all the shocked looks and hugs, and we had 7 go down vomiting today in about an hour and a half. So I don't know how long I'll be here, but we'll see. It's good to be back. So thanks to everyone who reached out and wished me well. I feel much better. So I would just like to, I know being out for a little bit, but we finished up our middle of the year assessments like everyone's been reporting, and I got a chance to take a peek at those today, and they look absolutely phenomenal. The progress that our students have been able to make as a result of the focused energies of our teachers and staff, and again parents, as Melanie mentioned, just reaching out and having them partner with us. You can really see a difference that it's making in our phonemic awareness and our phonics. So we're super excited to see where we're at and how we're progressing. I'll have that full report for you in January. Tomorrow's party day at Parkview. We like to have that not on the very last day, because that's kind of traumatic for our teachers, but and students. So we have it the day before, and we'll have those 9:45 to 10:30 for AM preschool, and then everyone else is 1:45 to 2:30 in the afternoon. So we're looking forward to having that moment to share with our kids. And then Thursday, our last day, is our Winter Wonderland celebration, which this year we've had themed quarterly celebrations, so we'll have different activities for the kids on that day as well. So as I end my report, I would just like to give a huge shout out to the Cameron High School. I believe it was the chamber choir, not for certain. They came today to, and I'll get choked up, but they came to sing for us today, and I just bawled like a baby. It was just absolutely beautiful. I posted one video when I had time earlier this evening, but those kids really blessed us today. I wish you could have been there to see it, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm thankful for them as well. They were my kids just a few short years ago. So, thank you.
Any questions or comments for?
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas. And to you.
Yes. And next we have Ms. Crawford.
I'm going to speak from here because I'm actually going to have Andy Brown come up and speak, but I wanted to let you guys know, April 24th, we have a date for track and field. So I didn't have that on I didn't have a date yet. We got that earlier today. So that will be Special Olympics at Lathrop. We do that every year. And we sometimes have, well, not sometimes, we always have buddies that will come with our kiddos. So they have a peer that gets to participate with them. So we have that on the calendar. So if you'd like to attend, we'd love to have you. But I'm going to let Andy talk. We've talked a lot about what we're doing and why we're doing, so I just figured you could hear it from the horse's mouth.
we've been working a lot with the life skills kiddos on gaining life skills and also job-related skills. And so I know that Mary has mentioned our snack baskets that we do that I know all the teachers look forward to, but our kids, besides the snack baskets, and then we do a teacher treat card every month, it's more than just they are passing out candy and things like that. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. They work on inventory. They are the ones that stock the baskets. They are the ones, we have visual, some of them struggle with reading, so we have visual shopping lists. So obviously we're out of nutty bars and ding dongs. So they can mark on these things when they are out of them, but then we also go to Walmart and they use these to shop so they can identify them and find them on the shelf. Gosh, I could go on and on. When we go to Walmart, we talk about traffic safety, we talk about driving. There's some of the kids that can literally tell me how to get to Walmart. Turn right, Mrs. Brown, turn left. Let's go by my house, Mrs. No, just go to Walmart. But they are really thriving with this, that it's just growing and growing. We do shopping they do cooking in their classes, and so the teachers get on the Walmart app and put everything in the cart for us, and then they take a clipboard and a pen. This is their marks, and there's quantity over here, and we've been able to talk about, oh no, this one's 6 ounces and this one's 12 ounces. Which one are we supposed to buy? And they take their calculators, because on this we have a purchase order that we know what we're going to spend, but on this we have taken money to the bank that we've made, and we know we have $100, and so we have $100 to spend to buy these snacks, and so we're adding things up as we go. And we even had a life experience once. I take a pair with me, and they got to the cashier, and they were like $5 over. And she was mortified because that was her group and they had to put something back. And I was like, no, that is perfect life lesson, because it's happened to me before. You know, you get up there and what do you do? And so I'm just thankful that we're able to do this. The kids are really learning lots of things. In addition to the shopping and the snacking, we are going to Cameron Market on Wednesdays, and we stock shelves, and the kids look so forward to that. I had a student come to me the other day and said, you know what today is, Mrs. Brown? I was like, Tuesday? Yeah. You know what tomorrow is? Wednesday? And he's like, yeah, Cameron Market Day. I was like, okay, you're right. So they're learning, you know, scheduling, days of the week, time management. They have to behave well at school in order to do these things. We've had these conversations. We've got to be able to trust you out in the community before, you know, we can go out in the community, and they look forward to these things. And, you know, they do it we have a little incentive chart where they get a paycheck, and so they're working up to a reward and things like that. But it's awesome. I enjoy it greatly. I don't know.
I can tell.
I do. I love it. And we're working with the Veterans Home. In January, I believe we're going to be able to start working at the Veterans Home, but that is still in the works. So I know Mary has asked before if anybody has any businesses in town, anything that you would like to invite us to. The kids are great. They love going out in the community and working. I would love to see them maybe get into hotels and learn to clean rooms or restaurants.
If
And
they want to practice, they can come to my house.
I know, I've thought the same thing. Yeah. So if you have any suggested ideas for anything.
About how many students are we?
We do the high school kids, and there are 4 of them.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have to tell this story too. One day we went to Cameron Market, and they didn't need us that day. And so none of us wanted to go right back to school. So I said, oh, all right, well, let's go to Dairy Queen. And I checked with Mrs. Crawford, and she said that would be fine. And it was a learning experience. I have a student who's, not real verbal, and I was a little nervous about what that student was going to order, but that student made it very clear. Went right over to the freezer case, pointed to the dilly bars, was saying, "Brown, brown," you know, and so it was amazing. Another one of my students just very genuinely, "Mrs. Brown, I've never been to Dairy Queen before. It's too expensive. Thank you so much for bringing us here. You really didn't have to do this." And I was like, "Oh, I will do it every week for that." And it just thanked me more than once, even thanked me later. And another student on the way back looked over me and said, "Thank you for buying this for me, Brown." And just genuine, unprompted, the communication that goes on through all of this and the relationship building, and it's fantastic, and I hope it continues to grow. And
Well, I was blessed enough to be in Walmart with you and your para and your students last week, and I found myself in the same aisle as your para and two of your students, and the way that she was teaching them as I think they were in the the snack aisle for the teacher cart, and how she was helping them make choices. I mean, I left right away and I messaged Ms. Crawford because it was so inspiring, and they were so happy, and your para was so kind and gentle with them and so incredible. And so I may have to go to Cameron Market tomorrow.
You should.
Just to see those friends, because I really did enjoy it, and it really was a blessing.
It's awesome. They've become so independent at Cameron Market. They used to kind of all rely on us, and they'd all do the same box together, and now they spread out and they know to match the UPC code with the UPC code on the shelves, and they stock. And I mean, I stock too, but they don't, they're kind of like, "We got this, Mrs. Brown." And, well, I will do something while I'm here. I think people think I work there because they ask me often, "Do you know where such and such is?" No, but anyway, yeah, it is a wonderful experience. So
I think the great thing about that program, we've been able to place students once they graduate. And with some employers.
Yes.
That great working relationships.
I think it is informing the community that these kids can work and they're not necessarily disruptive, and they can learn and they work hard. I think sometimes there is a little bit of a fear for some kids, and I think they're finding out, hey, these kids are awesome. And they're right. So good.
Ms. Crawford, about how many students do we serve through special services?
Right now, we have 356.
356.
So, for pre-K through high school right now.
Pre-K through high school.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I know, it's my pleasure, truly. I know it's a great part of my job. But while I'm here also, if I may add to Mr. Erdman's report,
Sure.
as a director, as one of the directors for the musicals and the spring play, I just wanted to talk about how fabulous Frozen Junior was, and how much we appreciate the support that we received from the board, from our administrators, from our community. It was amazing. We had just a huge turnout, and I saw a lot of board members there, or if they couldn't make it, because they were sick, they reached out. Tons of administrators there. The kids loved it. I know we got to do a little bit for Parkview and CIS, so they were very supportive of that. It was truly an awesome experience. Mr. Erdman and Mr. Lanigan, holy cow, the nights of the shows, we've never dealt with crowds that large, and so they really stepped up and helped us out with just anything and everything. And they weren't like the bosses that night. They were like, "What do you need? What do you need?" And we could just point and they do, and it was fabulous. So we really appreciate that. And we are gearing up now for our spring play, which auditions are tomorrow. And I want to tell you the name of it, but I don't want to give too much away. But it's a play on words. The show is called This Murder Was Staged. I say, murder was staged. if you get what I'm saying, without giving too much plot. It's actually, we try to give our kids a various experience, different genres, different types of plays. We've never done a murder mystery. This is actually a comedic murder mystery, but we're really excited about it, and I think it'll give the kids a new experience. And it's a show for all ages. It's very appropriate for all ages, and I don't think you'll be disappointed.
What's the date for that?
Oh, it's the second week
March
of
7th and 8th.
March.
Okay.
8th and 9th. Saturday, Friday and Saturday, 8th
Okay.
and 9th.
Great.
Auditions are tomorrow, so wish us break a leg.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments for Ms. Brown? Thank you for coming to speak with us and
Yes.
sharing that.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having me. I
inviting
talked
us.
forever.
Thought it'd be better to hear it and actually see the stuff that's going on, so. Do you guys have any other questions for me?
Any other questions for me? Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board about the technology or the maintenance report for Dr. Robinson? And we kind of skipped over the activities. Any questions or comments on any of those three?
On the high school activities, I just wanted to, you did mention on there that it's January 15th is the empty bowls. There's actually 5 basketball games going on that night, and there's a local service sorority that helps with the, this is with the art department. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And so it's $10. You can get a bowl and soup and a cinnamon roll and water. And it's a great for.
And that's a fundraiser.
It's a
right,
fundraiser for the food
food
pantry.
pantry. That's what I was thinking.
Yep. And so mark your calendars. January 15th. It's 4 to 8.
So if you do sign up to do that, you get to take your bowl that a child made or a student made. I shouldn't call them a child, but a student made. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. They're
So
very
that's
creative.
yours to take home, and they are very creative. And you'll have a piece of artwork that is yours, and then all the proceeds go to support the food pantry. So. And the soup is always great.
Yes.
And the cinnamon rolls are good
Yes,
too.
we usually have 3 different varieties of soup and cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, we partner with the service sorority. Thank you for reading that. Any other comments?
Just a shout out to the maintenance and custodial crews that do so much work for the district, and they're so appreciated, and just wanted to say thank you.
I know we've had a kind of uptick in some sickness in the area. I'm really glad we have all those air purifiers and all the classrooms and buildings, and I hope that is helping keep our kiddos. They share, but hopefully they don't share quite as much as they used to. So, but I know the maintenance department helps get all that done too. So, thank you. Okay, moving on to the next portion of our meeting is communications from residents of the district. This evening we have 4 individuals who have requested to speak about the governance or operation of the district, and they've spoken with Dr. Robinson. And so we've added them to our agenda. We have 3 individuals here to speak to us about books, and 1 who would like to speak to us about sex trafficking. As you've done in the past, I'll just ask that you approach the podium, introduce yourself for the record, and the topic that you are going to discuss. I ask that you try to stay on topic. Whatever you have talked with Dr. Robinson about, I ask that you try to stay on that topic because we have noticed the public that that's the topic that you'll be speaking about. And you'll be allowed to speak to us for about 5 minutes, and as we've done in the past, I ask the audience to remain quiet so that we can hear. That's their time to speak to the board. We value what they have to say to us, and we want to be able to listen or ask a question if we need clarification, but otherwise, this is our time to listen to you. So.
I notice you're letting the administrators duck out after the report. I think that's fantastic. We'll have to sit through the whole meeting. Thank you.
Go ahead and introduce yourself for the record and your topic. Please.
Sure. My name is Heath Gilbert. I'm here to talk about the books. More specifically about the books, I'm here to talk about the right to read policy that the district follows. In February of 23, the CHS librarian did an interview with the Emporia Gazette in an article titled Censorship in Libraries. She stated that CHS follows book selection guidelines published by MASL, the Missouri Association of School Librarians. That does not comply with district policy. Policy calls for something different. But let's talk about the book selection guidelines of MASL. MASL is currently involved in a lawsuit against the state of Missouri. It is challenging 573-550, the law which prohibits schools from providing porn to children. They want it overturned. MASL wants to provide porn to children. In an interview I shared with you months ago, the president of MASL admits the goal of the lawsuit is to return the books with the dirty pictures to school libraries. She says it is the right of the children to read what they want. She goes on further to justify MASL librarians providing that content to kids. She believes while our children are at school, librarians are acting in loco parentis. They're taking on the role as parents in the absence of parents. Why is the school district deferring to the judgment of an unaccountable organization that wants to return books with porn to our libraries? Why do they decide what books we should be adding to the library when we know they want the dirty books? They want the dirty pictures. You knew about it. Why do we still follow their guidelines? From Matthew 7, we know the saying, you will know a tree by its fruit. We also know that a diseased tree produces diseased fruit. MASL wants our children to read books with sexually explicit content and pictures. That porn is the disease, our children are the fruit. Harm is being done to our children. Will you allow it to continue? MASL is not accountable to this board or the taxpayers of our community. Yet they are given the power to set our book selection guidelines. This is how and why we have so many sexually explicit books in our library. Neither you nor I can compel or petition MASL to alter the book selection guideline to suit our community's needs. I am asking you to sever all ties to library organizations that want children to read porn. Let us set our own selection guidelines. We can do that. You can do that. We are better suited to make those decisions than an organization that fights to place porn in the hands of kids. Until you do, more filth will be continued to add to our libraries. It's in the book selection policy. I would like to address the board and the community about my stance on these books. Some have made allegations that I challenge these books because of racism, bigotry, hatred, or any other number of phobias. None of those claims have any merit and are false. I understand and fully support having diversity of books and thought in our district. Only by challenging one's position by exposure to new ideas is there an opportunity for critical thinking. In the absence of teaching one how to think, we find teachings on what to think. I do not accept the notion that it is a requirement of diversity to include graphic textbook-like instructions on how to have anal sex with another man. You can provide diversity to our children without including graphic descriptions of sex acts. I am equally opposed to graphic descriptions of heterosexual acts. I challenge them the same way I do other books when they're found. If there is more of one kind of book that I have challenged, it is only a reflection on the books which have been selected to be added, not because I am singling out a topic. No books which contain graphic, detailed description of sex acts should be made available with our tax dollars to children inside of a public school. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Mr. Landy, but I don't believe I see Mr. Landy.
Ma'am, if I may, he is not able to make it tonight and says thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Next on the agenda then would be Ms. Allen. Just introduce yourself for the record and tell us who you are. Talking to us.
My name is Paula Allen, and I'm going to talk about the type of content found in the books in our libraries. The majority of what I'm going to cover tonight is research and statistics. It is not my verbiage. I will let you know when I get to the part that's my verbiage. Pornography may be defined as the depiction of erotic behavior, sexual display in pictures or writing that is intended to cause sexual excitement in the viewer. Over the past decade, there has been a large increase in the pornographic material that is available to both adults and children. The negative effects suffered by children from exposure to pornographic material include mental disturbance and unrest for the young school-age child, including acting out and violent behavior. Because of its harmfulness to children, pornography must never be used as a tool to teach children human sexuality. For older adolescents and young adults, it teaches a false narrative regarding human sexuality and how men and women form healthy sexual relationships. For parents, pornography is divisive, resulting in a decreased quality of marriage and increasing the likelihood of divorce and separation, which has been well documented to be harmful to children. Pornography harms a child's precious brain. It actually changes neural pathways. Pornography harms a child's view of sex. How it is on the screen is not how it is in real life. Pornography harms a child's view of people. Pixels lead to objectification. Porn diminishes our ability to see a real, unrepeatable person. Pornography harms a child's quality of life. Because pornography is a supernormal stimulus, kids cannot stop watching. They lose sleep and time. Pornography causes children to harm other children. When young kids see pornography, they practice pornography on other children. 35% of children who are abused have been abused by a peer. Not all child molesters were molested themselves. At least half acquired the aberrant desire from some other sexual trauma, or most likely from fantasies often driven by visual or verbal pornography at a young age. The experimenter-type molester usually emerges sometime after puberty, but some can begin to experiment earlier. Experiencing sexual pleasure is not dependent on puberty. Some children are exposed early to that reality. They can become hooked, literally, on the neurochemicals released during sexual stimulation and activity. An essential part of the grooming process that predators use is to get their targets used to sexual talk and touch. With the kind of sex education taught in schools today, most children are becoming used to it already. The sex education curricula often call for children to experiment with sexual activity, same and opposite sex relationships, whenever and with whomever the child wants. Predators are finding children not only already desensitized, but eager to experiment. This is my verbiage. We have to protect all kids from all types of pornography, whether it's pictures or it's words. It's very clear that it's very damaging. I have sent every one of you on the board multiple emails to back up the research that provides this information and these statistics. It is not my opinion. You know this because I provided lots of material, and there will be more to come. So we need to protect our kids from all types of pornography. Are we concerned about the well-being of the kids or the experience that can be offered to them at the Cameron R1 School District? If a person has not done their research, they don't understand the potential damage. I myself didn't realize the brevity of it until I started doing my own research. I have presented all of that to each of you. You all now know. Please do not turn a blind eye. Thank you.
Next, we have Mrs. Paula.
Don't get old. I wondered how I was going to make it when I saw those rollers on the chairs. Thank you for having me tonight. And my name is Loretta Coble, to be here. Anyway, my subject tonight, am I starting yet?
Yeah.
My subject tonight is sex trafficking in Cameron. These are somebody's. When we think of sex trafficking, we think of the movie Taken, a high school girl being abducted and taken out of the country and sold on the auction block. Yes, this happens, but tonight I want to discuss sex trafficking happening in our own community. Yes, our own community. We've all heard of sexting. This is where texting turns into sexual conversation and then eventually leads to nude photos and our sex acts. 1 in 5 teens engage in sexting. It can lead to extortion, child pornography, and blackmail. Are you aware there is a book in the high school library called Sexting? Sextortion is when someone demands sexual images and then threatens to release those images he or she seeks to keep private. 2 out of 3 children will experience sextortion before the age of 16. It usually occurs within the first 2 weeks and the threats ensue daily. Foster care kids and single parent homes are high risk, but any child can become a victim. A lot of times the abuser has been abused, and some of these kids come from good homes, and you'd never think this could be happening. Missouri receives 18 trafficking reports per 100,000 people, but how many is not reported? 80% of survivors end up being re-victimized if they don't have a safe place. 40% of sex trafficking victims are trafficked by a family member. They still go to school. They still go to church. Sex trafficking hides in plain sight. We have to be on the watch. Boyfriends and family members are at the top of the list to sex traffic a child. Usually someone they trust. That's what's so sad, but someone they trust. Drugs are usually used, making the child disoriented. Gifts are usually given. Girls aren't the only ones targeted. Warning signs to look for in school: controlling relationships, missing for days, exhausted and falling asleep, kids being allowed to sleep in an office at school. Has anyone checked in to see why these kids are so tired? I know you've all heard of that. Rumors of prostitution, phone goes off in school, self-harm, anxiety, substance abuse, on heavy medications but they aren't working because it's not a mental problem. It's trauma-induced. Acting out. A teen girl here in Cameron High School, yes, Cameron High School, was offered a $10 gift card if she would perform sex acts with him, a fellow student. This is from a girl who felt safe to tell her parent. How many more kids do we have in this district that don't tell? This is open. Teachers have a unique opportunity to spend extended periods of time with students, building a rapport and getting to know them, which leads to having the ability to become a safe person. Do the teachers, counselors, and social workers go through any type of training to recognize signs? Teachers need to be on the watch. What resources does the school have to help a student if they are experiencing this? Are there any books in the library that would help them? Nathan Kim, FBI supervisory special agent who's with Crimes Against Children and Human Trafficking Task Force. He will be speaking at an open forum January the 8th, 2024 at Passion Church to discuss these issues and to help educate parents what to look for. The community is invited to attend. Please accept this invitation. And this is open to all parents. And we all as parents need to be there. He will be discussing sexting that we all need to know in the lobby. In the lobby, we have papers to hand out with his telephone number or anything you want to know. We've got the papers to hand out to any of y'all that want the papers. And we hope you'll be there. We just hope you'll be there because it'll be good.
Thank you, Ms.
So thank you for having us.
Dr. Robinson, since she referred to a student of ours, I think I'll have to ask that you and Ms. Utek follow up with her about the student that she just referred to so that we can investigate that accusation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we don't have anything on items for consideration this evening.
Teachers are doing the same.
Well, we don't have anything on items for consideration, so we don't have anything for additional comments this evening. But so our next item that we'll move to is actually board member comments. So this evening, I'm going to start with Ms. Peck.
I can, tell that the building administrators and teachers, they're either sick or they're really tired, they're beat, and just a shout out to all of our educators in the district that do so much inside the classroom, outside the classroom. It truly is appreciated by most, and just wishing everyone a Merry Christmas.
Yes, I think the break is coming at a great time to just be able to take some time to get healthy again and re-energized. I did have the opportunity to go to the band concert. Thank you for moving the meeting a little bit later so that we could go. So 8th grade joined high school at the very end to do the 1812 overture. So 120 students were on that stage playing together, and it was incredible. I mean, I have heard nothing but amazing things about every performance that has come from, that has been taking place. Your municipal band concert this weekend, I mean, but all of the band, all the choir, the productions, elementary school music productions were fantastic. So I'm so proud that we have this facility and all the work that's gone into showcasing these students and their talent. And so I'm just very proud, and I just pray that all of our teachers and staff take a break to enjoy their days off and get healthy and come back in January just ready to continue to teach our students. And I think it's Merry Christmas to everybody. I don't know. Ms. Lockridge?
I echo the comments about the staff and teachers and administrators and all the good work being put in, but I'd also like to give a shout out to the PTSA, the volunteers, and the boosters who have spent lots of time this semester fundraising, providing meals, just providing support in general for all the things that go on. It doesn't get done on its own, so we appreciate all those people that volunteer their time. And Merry Christmas to everyone, and enjoy your break.
I would also, of course, say Merry Christmas and appreciate while there are a lot of ways that we have not necessarily over this first semester agreed with a proper response to some of the concerns. I do want to thank all of you who spoke, because I know you care about kids, just like our staff cares about kids. Thank you. These are important topics. Certainly no one here would wish any type of behavior that you described on our students, and so we want to be sensitive to that, and thank you for bringing it to us today. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Dr. Kercher?
Certainly, thanks to our staff and everybody that's made this first semester as good as it is. Appreciate that. I really enjoyed the bands playing tonight. Didn't get to hear the 6th grade. Couldn't find a parking spot. But I did get 7th and 8th in high school, and it was very nice. Probably most of you have finished, on the board, have finished your required mandatory update training. And Dr. Robinson, there was a little, have you you're not required to do it, but did
No.
you see it? Okay. Well, for the rest of the board, there was about a 4-minute clip in there where the father was talking about grooming. And he described that as nothing that we think grooming is. And so I wonder if we could get that. I tried to go back after I finished the class to go back and save that clip, but I couldn't. You have to take the whole thing again, and I didn't have time to do it. But I wonder if we could contact MSBA and get that little clip and maybe show it at a board meeting, because it puts a whole new meaning on grooming and what it really is and what we're not doing.
Yeah.
I would really appreciate that. I think it would be very eye-opening. I don't know, the rest of the board, you can express your views on that, but I felt like that it was very interesting. And it was a good refresher training. So, yeah. And Merry Christmas.
Thank you. I just want to say Merry Christmas. We are getting ready to wrap up 2023, and that's just an unbelievable statement for me to say. And so as you get ready to celebrate with your family and friends, I hope that you can find some peace, and I hope that you can find some hope, and just relax, and just, I'm grateful that we live in the United States of America, that we have the freedoms that we have, that Cameron has been able to foster civil debate, and that where we may not always agree with things, that we have shown communities around us how we can talk respectfully to one another. I want to say thanks to our staff. What they do is sometimes I'm in awe and extremely humble with some of the things that our staff does. I was shared a statistic today that Northwest Missouri State cohorts their graduating class for educators, and they have no graduating class for December for educators, and they will be only graduating 11 elementary education teachers in the spring. And so I think us in this room owe it to ourselves to say, what do we want our community and our world to look like if our kids are not educated? Because we have bashed this profession unbelievable. And I think it's time we rally around this noble profession and understand that our kids, it is better when our kids do better, we are all going to do better. And we have to look at our future and stop cutting ourselves off at the knees and start supporting one another. So I appreciate everybody that steps into one of our buildings, who opens a door, the bus drivers, the food service, the volunteers. I think it's an incredible mission that they do every day. We don't get to pay them nearly what we should pay them, because they are the actual ones that are making the future that we get to live in someday. So I would encourage you just to reflect on what we want our future to look like, and what these people, I'm telling you, it is the most humbling experience that I've had when I hear the stories of what educators do for our kids and what people do in our community that will never, ever, ever be spoken. And so I think we just want to say thanks to our educators, and I want them to feel supported. And I want to say thanks to the board. This is a volunteer effort that definitely looks different than I ever could have imagined that it would have looked at it, but it's a privilege to serve. I'm honored and humbled to serve with each of you. And so enjoy your families. And I'm going to wrap up because that was enough. But Merry Christmas. And now I need a motion by roll call to go into closed session to discuss personnel as well as some legal issues. And do I have that motion? So moved. Moved by Ms. Goodwin-Clark. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Ms. Lockridge.
To clarify, that's section 61021, subsection 13.
Thank you, Dr. So, Dr. Kercher, would you go first with the roll call?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you guys for coming this evening.
Sister Robinson, where can I find that list of books? You said it's a public record now?
Yeah, it's posted on the agenda now.
It's on the agenda?
Yeah. I didn't get it posted until like about 4:30 this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
All right.